Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. Tonight we have a special entry into our archives. My godbrother from New Vrindavan, Kripa Moya Prabhu, who is an expert musician, and he writes very beautiful melodies, and he's going to perform for us the sacred prayer that Srila Prabhupada wrote on the Jaladuta just before he put his lotus feet on this continent. Hare Krishna.
My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul. I don't know why you're business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place? Material modes of passion and ignorance. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied, and therefore have no taste for hearing the transcendental message of Vasudeva. I don't know how they'll be able to understand it, but I do know your causeless mercy can make everything possible, because you are the most expert mystic. O spiritual master of the worlds, I can simply repeat your message, and if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. O Lord, only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure, and I am sure when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they'll certainly become gladdened and become liberated from all. Lord, I'm just like a puppet in your hands. So if you've brought me here to dance, then make me dance, O Lord. Make me dance as you like. In the holy name of Krishna, I have been designated as Bhakti Vedanta. And now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhakti Vedanta. Signed, the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami.
Prabhupada ki jai.
On board the Jaladuta, Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts, USA. 18th of September, 1965. When we reach the ocean of sin, when our hearts stop beating, please help our spirits soar on the flower airplane of Krishna's holy name. Please help us always remain with you, Prabhupada. Please look down from heaven upon the shadowland. When we gasp our last breath, please take our hands and show us the way beyond the night and day to where Krishna and Balaram play with you. Every September, devotees remember when you stood on the boardwalk all alone, when the seagulls were flying as they were crying. You started looking towards your home, and as the boats were leaving, your heart was weeping. Will I ever see Vrindavan again? But then you remembered your spiritual master and stayed here to boldly declare the glory and power of Krishna's name. There is no darkness calamity or pain that can take away the fortune we had when you came to this cold, dark, lonely place, giving us a chance to taste the nectar of Lord Krishna's smiling face. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Pond,
Yes.
who also sings very beautifully.
Yes,
Expert
Kripamoya.
musician.
Yes.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you so much for that sweet memory, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. Okay. To honor Srila Prabhupada, we will read from his magnum opus, his life's work, the Srimad-Bhagavatam. Sanatana Goswami, glorifying the Bhagavatam, explaining exactly what it is we're reading. Hare Krishna, welcome back. Sanatana Goswami wrote a book called Sri Krishna Leela Stava. He wrote this after he compiled Brihad Bhagavatamrita, not long after Lord Chaitanya spent 2 solid months with him, instructing him totally in the science of Krishna consciousness. And this Sri Krishna Leela Stava is a very short book. It only has about 420 verses, something like that. And it's in very simple vocative Sanskrit, and it's meant to offer 108 obeisances to the divine Leela in Vrindavan, Krishna Vrindavan Leela. So there's a few verses, and then it's 1 obeisance, another very few verses, obeisance 2, like that. He offered 108 obeisances, and these verses that we're about to read, called Srimad-Bhagavata Mahima Stotram, are the 107th obeisance, one from the end. Because Bhagavatam gives us Krishna Leela. And it goes like this. Sarvashastra Dipiyusha Sarva Vedaika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Ana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kalidwan Dodita Ditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshakshadayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madekabando matsangin madruno man mahadana mannisadagamat bhagya mad ananda namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu saduta dayin atini chochata kada hanamuncha gadachin mam premna rit kantayospurda. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we reached the 5th chapter of the 11th canto. We're coming to the end of the teachings of the Nava-Yogendras, the 9 sons of Rishabhdev, Supreme Personality of Godhead, who attained the exalted stage of Paramahansa, sannyasis, and were wandering around the earth, enlightening everyone they met in the science of Krishna consciousness. And we've come to the last of the 9 Yogendras, and he's discussing the different Yuga avatars and what they look like. And here we are, text 37. Indeed, there is no higher possible gain for embodied souls forced to wander throughout the material world than the Supreme Lord's Sankirtan movement, by which one can attain the supreme peace and free oneself from the cycle of repeated birth and death. Purport. In the Skanda Purana, as well as in other Puranas, there is the following statement. Maha Bhagavata Nityam Kalo Kurvanti Kirtanam. During Kali Yuga, the great devotees of the Lord always engage in kirtan, chanting the Lord's holy names. It is the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be merciful, and He is especially merciful to those who shelter of His lotus feet. One can immediately take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord by chanting His holy names. According to Sridhar Swami, even in previous ages, such as Satya Yuga, it was not possible for the living entities to achieve the perfection that is available in Kali Yuga. You hear that one? I'll say that one again. Gotta say that again. Okay. Even in previous ages, such as Satya Yuga, it was not possible for the living entities to achieve the perfection that is available. As explained, this as follows. In former ages, such as Satya Yuga, human beings were perfectly qualified and easily performed even the most difficult spiritual processes, meditating for many thousands of years, practically without eating or sleeping. Thus, although in any age, one who completely takes shelter of the Lord's holy name gets all perfection, the highly qualified people of Satya Yuga do not consider that merely moving the tongue and lips, chanting the Lord's holy name, is a complete process, and that the Lord's holy name is the only shelter within the universe. They are more attracted to the difficult and elaborate yoga system of meditation, complete with sophisticated sitting postures, painstaking control of the breath, and deep, extended meditations within the heart. In Satya Yuga, sinful life is practically unheard of, and therefore people are not afflicted with the terrible reactions seen in Kali Yuga, such as world war, famine, plague, drought, insanity, etc. Although in Satya Yuga, people always worship the personality of Godhead as the ultimate goal of life, and meticulously, they do not feel themselves to be in a helpless condition, and thus they do not always experience intense love for the Lord. However, in Kali Yuga, living conditions are so unbearable, modern governments are so obnoxious, our bodies are so ridden by physical and mental disease, and even self-preservation is so troublesome that the conditioned souls intensely cry out the holy name of Krishna, begging for relief from the onslaught of this age. The members of the Krishna consciousness movement have vivid and unforgettable experiences of the terrible contradictions inherent in human society in this age. And thus they are firmly convinced that there is nothing to be achieved except the mercy of the Supreme Lord. In ISKCON centers throughout the world, we observe wonderfully ecstatic kirtan performances in which men, women, and children from all walks of life chant with startling enthusiasm the holy names of Krishna and dance in ecstasy, becoming completely indifferent to so-called public opinion. In America, a prominent professor from Oberlin College, visited a Hare Krishna center in California and was astonished by the enthusiasm with which the devotees chant the holy name of Krishna in their congregational performances. Thus, due to their helpless and pathetic condition, the living entities in Kali Yuga have great impetus to surrender fully to the holy name of Krishna, putting all of their hope and faith in the Lord's holy name. Kali Yuga is therefore the best age, because in this age, more than in Satya Yuga or other ages, the conditioned souls become disgusted with the kingdom of illusion and surrender fully to the Lord's holy name. This status of full surrender is called Paramang Shantim, or supreme peace. Srila Madhvacharya has quoted a passage from the book called Swabhavya, to the effect that a bona fide spiritual master in disciplic succession is able to understand the mentality and capability of his disciples and engage them in worshipping the particular form of the Lord suitable for them. In this way, the spiritual master destroys all obstacles in the path of his disciples. The general rule is that one must worship the particular form of the Lord that appears in the current yuga. One may also offer his love and worship to other forms of the Lord that appear in other ages, and specifically, one is recommended to chant the holy names of Lord Nrsingadev to get all protection. Practically, all of these injunctions are being carried out within the ISKCON movement. Within the Krishna consciousness society, men, women, and children are all being engaged in worshiping the Lord according to their particular natures. In addition, according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order, we're worshiping Balarama and Krishna, who appeared in Dvapara Yuga, because they are the original, supreme personality of Godhead. Similarly, by chanting the Dashavatara Stotra, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, and by reading Srimad-Bhagavatam, the members of ISKCON worship all the plenary expansions of the personality of Godhead. And after every arati performance, devotional prayers are duly chanted to Lord Nrsingadev for protection of this movement, which is so essential to human society. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Text 38 to 40. My dear King, the people of Satya Yuga and other ages eagerly desire to take birth in this age of Kali, since in this age there will be many devotees of the Supreme Lord, Narayana. These devotees will appear in various places, but will be especially numerous in South India. O Master of men, in the age of Kali, those persons who drink the waters of the holy rivers of Dravida Desh, such as the Tamrapani, Kritamala, Payaswini, the extremely pious Kavari, and the Pratichi Mahanadi, will almost all be pure-hearted devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Purport. The Vedas contain information of past, present, and future living conditions throughout the universe. This is not very wonderful. For example, although at present time in India we are experiencing spring weather, we know that in the future the torrid summer will come, followed by the rainy season, autumn, and eventually winter, and a new spring. Similarly, we know that these seasons have occurred repeatedly in the past. Thus, just as ordinary human beings can understand the past, present, and future seasons of the earth, the liberated followers of Vedic culture can easily understand the past, present, and future conditions of the seasonal ages of the earth and other planets. The people of Satya Yuga are certainly aware of the conditions of Kali Yuga. They know that in Kali Yuga, the difficult material situation forces the living entity to take complete shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that the people of Kali Yuga therefore develop a high degree of love of Godhead. Therefore, although the people of Satya Yuga are far more sinless, truthful, and self-controlled than the people of other ages, they desire to take birth in Kali Yuga in order to taste pure love of Krishna. Without associating with the devotees of the Lord, no one can become an advanced devotee of the Lord. Therefore, since in Kali Yuga, other Vedic processes collapse due to the unfavorable condition, and since the only authorized Vedic process is the devotional chanting of the Lord's holy name, which is available to everyone, there will undoubtedly be innumerable Vaishnavas, or devotees of the Lord, in this age. Birth in this age is very favorable for one who is eager to associate with the devotees. In fact, the Krishna consciousness movement is establishing authorized Vaishnava temples throughout the world, so that in innumerable areas one may avail himself of association with pure devotees. Association with the devotees of the Lord is far more valuable than any amount of association with persons who are merely self-controlled, sinless, or expert in Vedic scholarship. Therefore it is stated in Srimad-Bhagavatam 6.14.5, Muktanam apisidhanam narayana parayanaha sudurlabha prashantatma kotishapi mahamune. O great sage, among many millions who are liberated and perfect in knowledge of liberation, one may be a devotee of Lord Narayana or Krishna. Such devotees who are fully peaceful are extremely rare. Similarly, it is stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 22:54, Sadhusanga, Sadhusanga, Sarva Shastra Koi, Lavamatra Sadhusange, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. The verdict of all revealed scriptures is that even by a moment's association with the pure devotee, one can attain all success. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the words kvachit kvachit in the verses under discussion indicate that in Kali Yuga, Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya will appear in Godadesh in the district of Nadia. And from this pivotal point, he will gradually expand the flood of love of Godhead to cover the entire earth. Many exalted devotees, such as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, also took birth in Godadesh. The process of chanting the holy name of Krishna, Krishna Kirtan, is not limited to Kali Yuga. In the Vishnu Dharma, in relation to the story of the fallen son of a Kshatriya, it is stated, Nadesha niyamas tatra, nakala niyamas tata, nochchis tadau nishedascha, Sri Harer nam nilubdakaha. There is no restriction of place or time, nor any injunction forbidding the accepting of remnants of food, etc., when one has become greedy to chant the name of Sri Hari. Similarly, as it is stated in the Skanda Purana, the Vishnu Dharma, and the Vaishaka Mahatmya section of the Padma Purana, Chakrad Yudasya Nam Nami Sada Sarvata Kirtayat. The names of the Supreme Lord, who has the disc as his weapon, should be glorified always and everywhere. Similarly, the Skanda Purana states, Nadesha Kala Vastatma Shuddhadikam Apekshate Kintu Swatantram Evaitam Nama Kamita Kamadam. The name of the Lord need not be chanted with regard to place, time, circumstantial conditions, preliminary self-purification, or any other factors. Rather, it is completely independent of all other processes and rewards all the desires of those who eagerly chant it. Similarly, it is stated in the Vishnu Dharma, Kalau krita yugam tasya, kalistasya krite yuge, yasya chetasi govindo, hridaye yasya natyutaha. For one who has Lord Govinda in his heart, Satya Yuga becomes manifest in the midst of Kali. And conversely, even Satya Yuga becomes Kali Yuga for one who does not have the infallible Lord in his heart. The holy name of Krishna is potent everywhere, at all times, in all circumstances. Therefore one should always chant the holy names of the Lord, either in Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga, in heaven, in hell, or in Vaikuntha. Krishna's holy name is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Oh. Krishna's holy name is eternally non-different from Him, and Krishna is eternally the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, it is not that the holy name is powerful in this age only because other processes are not effective. It is also stated in the Sri Vishnu Purana that chanting the holy names of the Lord is far more potent than simply trying to remember the Lord through meditation. In Srimad-Bhagavatam 2.1.11, Shukadeva Goswami has stated, Etan nirvidyamananam ichatam akuto bayam yoginam nripanir nitam harer namanukirtanam. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. In his commentary on this verse in the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada has written, according to Sri Shukadeva Goswami, this way of attaining success, chanting the holy name, is an established fact, concluded not only by him, but also by all of the previous acharyas. Therefore, there is no need of further evidence. The reader may consult Srila Prabhupada's purport to this verse for a detailed explanation of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord and the offenses to be avoided in such chanting. In the Vaishnava Chintamani, there is the following statement. Agat chit smaranam vishnor bhav aya sena sadyate oshta spandanamatrena kirtanam tu tato vadam. Although capable of destroying all sins, the remembrance of Lord Vishnu is achieved only with extraordinary effort. On the other hand, one may perform Krishna Kirtan simply by moving one's lips, and thus this process is superior. Srila Jiva Goswami has also quoted the following verse. Yena janma shatai purvam Vasudeva samarchitaha tan mukhe harinamamni sada tishtanti bharata. O descendant of Bharat, the holy names of Lord Vishnu are always vibrating in the mouth of one who was previously worshipped Vasudeva perfectly for hundreds of lifetimes. The same idea is conveyed in the Srimad-Bhagavatam by Srimati Devahuti in her statement to her son Kapila. Aho bhatta shapacho togariyan yaj jivagre vartate namatubhyam tapus tapaste juhuvu sasnur arya brahmanu chur namagrinantaye te. Oh, how glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name. Even if born in the family of dog-eaters, such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your Lordship must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed in holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. Bhagavatam 3:33-7. Therefore, Srila is able to perform kirtan equally in all ages. In Kali Yuga, however, the Supreme personally induces the living entities to take the holy name. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has thus quoted the Lord as follows: Enechi aushadimaya nashi badalagi harinama mahamantra lao tumi magi. O conditioned souls who were foolishly sleeping in the lap of the witch Maya, I have brought an excellent medicine to cure the disease of your illusion. This medicine is called Harinama. It is my holy name, and by taking this medicine, you will get all perfection in life. Therefore, I sincerely request you to please take this medicine that I have personally brought for you. In verse 32 of this chapter, it was stated, Yagyai Sankirtana. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the word Sankirtana Prayai, which means mainly by the process of Sankirtan, indicate that although other processes, such as deity worship, may be performed to some extent in Kali Yuga, must be favorably connected with the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. One who is performing worship of the Krishna deity should know that the most essential part of such deity worship is constant chanting of the holy names of the Lord. On the other hand, one who has perfectly chanted the holy name of the Lord need not depend on other processes. As expressed in Kali, there is no alternative for spiritual progress other than the holy name 6. As proved by all of these evidences, the statement of the Bhagavatam, Kalim Sabad Jayantyarya, that spiritual persons worship the age of Kali due to the facilities offered in this age by the Lord, is not at all contradictory. At the end of verse 40, in this chapter it is stated, Prayo Bhakta Bhagavati Vasudeva Malashayaha. In general, those who are able to regularly drink the waters of the holy rivers of South India will be pure-hearted devotees of Lord Vasudeva. The word praya, or in general, indicates that those who are offensive to the Lord's devotees, although claiming themselves to be devotees, are not included within the list of amalashaya, or pure-hearted souls. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has pointed out that one should not be bewildered by seeing the apparently poverty-stricken condition of the inhabitants of South India. Even nowadays, the inhabitants of the places mentioned in this verse generally spend their days with meager eating and clothing and live as great renounced devotees of the Supreme Lord. In other words, clothes do not make the man. In other words, clothes do not make the man. To live as a polished animal, dressing oneself luxuriously and gratifying the tongue with rich foods, is not the actual symptom of an advanced transcendentalist. Although the residents of South India are generally Sri Vaishnavas or devotees in the Lakshmi Sampradaya, they are recognized as devotees of the Lord by the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. According to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, their austere living conditions should be taken as a good qualification, not a disqualification. Text 41. Oh. Devarshi Bhutapta Mrinkuro Nayam Rini Charajan Sarvatmana Yak Sharanam Sharanyam Kato Mukundam Parihrityakartam. Famous verse. O King, one who has given up all material duties, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who have passed away. Since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who is surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. Purport. One who is not fully surrendered to the devotional service of the Lord undoubtedly has many material duties to perform. Every ordinary conditioned soul is the recipient of innumerable benefits, even by the demigods, who provide sun and moonshine, rain, wind, food, and ultimately one's own material body. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Stena eva saha. One who does not reciprocate with the demigods by offering them sacrifice is stena, or a thief. Similarly, other living entities, such as cows, are providing us with innumerable delicious and nutritious foodstuffs. When we wake up in the morning, our mind is refreshed by the sweet singing of birds, and on a hot day, we enjoy the cool shade and breeze of the forest trees. We are accepting service from innumerable living entities, and we are obligated to repay them. Apta means one's own family members, to whom one is certainly obligated according to normal morality, and Rinam means human society. Until one becomes a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is certainly a product of his society. We receive mundane education, culture, tradition, and protection from the society in which we live, and thus we owe a great debt to society. Of course, our debt to society is not simply to the present order, but to all of our forefathers and ancestors who carefully preserved moral and social customs, so that we, their descendants. Therefore the word Pitrinam, or forefathers, indicates our debt to previous generations. In fact, the members of the Krishna Consciousness Society are sometimes criticized by materialistic persons for giving too much attention to Krishna, rather than working to fulfill all of the above-mentioned obligations. The Bhagavatam 4:31-14 states, Yata toror mule nisheshjanena tripyanti tat skandabujo prashakaha. If one waters the root of a tree, automatically all of the branches, twigs, leaves, etc. are also nourished. There is no need for, nor any effectiveness in, separately pouring water on the branches, twigs, and leaves of a tree. The water has to be placed on the root. Similarly, prano paharachcha yatendriyanam. Food must be placed in the stomach, from where it is automatically distributed to all the limbs of the body. It is foolish to try to nourish the whole body by rubbing food separately on all the bodily limbs. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the source of all existence. Everything is emanating from Krishna. Everything is maintained by Krishna. And at the end, everything will merge to rest in Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the supreme benefactor, friend, protector, and well-wisher of every living entity. And if he is satisfied, then automatically the whole world will become satisfied. Just as all of the bodily limbs are strengthened and satisfied when food is duly remitted to the stomach. Duly remitted. Funny. The example can be given that a man who is working as the personal secretary to a great king has no further obligation to petty minor kings. Undoubtedly, an ordinary person has many obligations within this material world, but according to Bhagavad Gita, Mayaiva Vihitan Hitan. It is actually the Supreme Lord who is giving all benedictions. For example, one receives one's body by the mercy of one's parents. However, sometimes we find that a particular man or woman may become impotent at a given moment. Sometimes a deformed child is born, and sometimes a child is born dead. Often the sexual act fails to produce pregnancy at all. So although all parents desire a beautiful, highly qualified child, this is often not the case. Thus it can be understood that ultimately it is by the mercy of the Supreme Lord that a man and woman are able to produce a child by the sexual act. It is by the Lord's mercy that the man's seminal injection is potent and the woman's ovum is fertile. Similarly, it is only by the mercy of the Lord that the child is born in a healthy condition and reaches physical maturity to pursue his own life. If at any stage in the evolution of a human being the Lord's mercy is withdrawn, sudden death or crippling disease occurs. The demigods are also not independent. The words parihrityakartam, giving up other duties, indicate that one should give up any concept that the demigods are separate from Krishna. It is clearly stated in Vedic literature that the demigods are different limbs of the universal body of the Supreme Lord. Further, it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, and that He only is giving intelligence and memory. Thus our forefathers, who carefully preserved cultural traditions, were acting with intelligence provided by the Supreme Lord. They certainly were not acting with their own independent intelligence. No one can be intelligent without a brain, and it is only by Krishna's mercy that we receive a human brain. Therefore, if we carefully analyze all of our multifarious obligations toward different classes of living entities, we shall find that in each and every case, it is ultimately by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that we have received a particular benediction in life. So although an ordinary person must methodically fulfill all of his various obligations by executing different types of sacrifices and charitable activities for the satisfaction of those who have benefited him, one who is directly serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, at once fulfills all such obligations, because all benedictions ultimately have come from the Lord through the agency of family, forefathers, demigods, etc. The example may be given that sometimes a state government may distribute benefits originally provided by the federal government. So one who becomes the personal secretary or minister to the chief executive of the federal government has no further obligation to the less important representatives of the state government. Therefore it is stated in Srimad-Bhagavatam 11:29, Tavat karmani kuravita na nirvedyeta yavata matkata shavanadauva shata yavan najayate. As long as one is not satiated by fruitive activity and has not awakened his taste for devotional service by hearing and chanting about the Supreme Lord, one has to act according to the regulative principles of the Vedic injunctions. The conclusion is that one who has fully surrendered to the devotional service of the Supreme Lord is a first-class human being. People in general are only eager to receive benedictions from demigods, family members, and society, because such benedictions are conducive to material sense gratification. Less intelligent persons consider such material progress to be the only goal of life, and thus cannot appreciate the exalted position of pure devotional service to the Lord. Bhakti Yoga, or pure devotional service, is meant to directly please the senses of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Envious materialistic persons propose various arguments to deny that the Supreme Lord even has transcendental senses. The devotees, however, do not waste time doubting the inconceivable beauty, strength, wealth, and geniality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but directly please the Lord's senses through loving service, and thus receive the supreme benediction of going. The devotees return to the Lord's abode, where life is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. No demigod, family member, or forefather can give one an eternal life of bliss and knowledge. However, if one foolishly neglects the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord and instead accepts the temporary material body to be everything, then one must certainly perform elaborate sacrifices, austerities, and charity, and fulfill all the obligations mentioned above. Otherwise, one becomes completely sinful and condemned, even from the material point of view. Hare Krishna. That was a mouthful, a mindful, a heartful. Okay. One more. Unless we have an objection. Objection? One more? Is it okay? Sure? Sure? No, she wants to. No? You have to go. Oh. Maybe I should, but if you go, even if we're doing, you'll watch. Okay. Anyway, thank you for coming. Hare Krishna. Text 42. One more, then we'll discuss. One who has thus given up all other engagements and has taken full shelter at the lotus feet of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is very dear to the Lord. Indeed, if such a surrendered soul accidentally commits the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated within everyone's heart, immediately takes away the reaction to such sin. Purport clearly described that a fully surrendered devotee of the Supreme Lord has no need to perform ordinary worldly duties. Now in this verse, it is revealed that devotional service is so pure and potent that it surrendered to perform any other purificatory process. As described in the 6th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam, a surrendered devotee has no need to perform prayaschita, or atonement for an act, since devotional service is itself the most purifying process. A sincere devotee who has accidentally stumbled on the path should immediately resume his pure devotional service at the lotus feet of the Lord. And thus the Lord will protect him, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 9:30. Apichet sududachado bhajate mam ananya bhak sadureva samantabhyak samyak vyabhasito hisaha. The word chaitanya bhavasva in this verse is very significant. As stated in the previous verse, a pure devotee realizes clearly that all living entities, including Brahma and Shiva, are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus have no separate or independent existence. Realizing that everything and everyone is part and parcel of the Lord, a devotee automatically is not inclined to commit sinful activities by violating the order of God. However, due to the powerful influence of material nature, even a sincere devotee may be temporarily overwhelmed by illusion and deviate from the rigid path of devotional service. In such a case, Lord Krishna himself, acting within the heart, removes such sinful activities. Even Yamaraj, the Lord of Death, has no power to punish a surrendered devotee who has accidentally committed sinful activities. As stated here, Krishna is Paresha, or the Supreme Lord, and all secondary lords, such as the demigods, cannot threaten the Lord's personal devotees. In his youth, Ajamil had been a pious Brahmana, engaged in the service of the Lord. Then, by bad association with a prostitute, he became practically the most degraded man in the world. At the end of his life, Yamaraj sent his Yamadutas to drag away the soul of the sinful Ajamil. But the personality of Godhead immediately sent his personal associates to save Ajamil and demonstrate to Yamaraj that no secondary personality can disturb the personal devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Kaunteya pratijani hi name bhakta pranashyati. The argument may be raised that the Smriti Shastra states, Shruti Smriti mamai bhagye. The Vedic scriptures are the direct orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, one may ask, how can the Lord tolerate that His orders be occasionally neglected, even by His devotees? To answer this possible objection, the word priyasya is used in this verse. The devotees of the Lord are very dear to the Lord. Although the beloved child may accidentally commit an abominable activity, the loving father forgives the child, taking into consideration the actual good intentions of the child. Thus, although the devotee of the Lord does not try to exploit the Lord's mercy by requesting the Lord to free him from any future suffering, the Lord, by His own initiative, frees the devotee from the reactions to accidental fall downs. This causeless mercy of the Lord upon His devotee is his paramaishwaryam, or supreme opulence. Gradually, the faithful devotee becomes free even from accidental fall downs. Because simply by remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, what to speak of by actively rendering service to Him, his heart is purified. Although the surrendered devotees of the Personality of Godhead may sometimes appear to be affected by mundane attitudes, they are inevitably protected by the merciful Lord and are never actually defeated in life. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai. Pure devotional service to Krishna ki Jai. Holy Bhagavatam ki Jai. Okay, we'll stop there tonight. Throw the field open to the open mic. Nice, huh?
Very nice.
Yeah, when the heart hears the truth, and that's why we do this. That's why to sit and hear in this age for this and practice and practice and practice until we can stay awake and alert throughout the whole reading. Then we have something to say, actually, and something to feel. And anyway, the purports spoke for themselves. Hare Krishna. I've said enough. Yes, Kripa Moya, please.
Maharaj, I'm going to go with Bhattadraja Maharaj in a few minutes here, but before I go, I wanted to ask you a question. As you were reading, my mind was struggling with hearing, but finally, I think I just reading as kind of like a shower and was cleansing away the dirt in my heart.
Not like a machine gun.
Yeah, more like a machine gun.
More like a shower than a machine gun. Although sometimes it feels like a machine gun because of our resistance. Go ahead.
So I really like the point you were saying, that one purport, at the end of the purport to text 41, where it says, otherwise one becomes completely sinful and condemned, even from the material point of view, and even from the mind point of view, even from the heart point of view. And I was wondering maybe you might be able to comment on, there's so much stress now about mindfulness, but it seems like in Krishna consciousness we have like heartfulness. And maybe if you could comment on the distinction between the two.
First of all, they don't understand what the mind is.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question of being mindful unless you understand what the mind is. Their idea of mindfulness is to become absorbed in the mind. And they're not the mind. Mind into the association of Krishna. And that's why it's so important to hear the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad-Bhagavatam. It was a very interesting section of the purports we just read, where it was describing how the Lord will forgive a sincere devotee, a surrendered soul, who sometimes comes under the influence of the material energy and does something accidentally that is not proper. The Lord forgives that, very easily, and doesn't take it seriously. But sorry, I didn't mean to distract you.
No,
If you have to go, you should go.
Yeah.
Anyway, your question started the ball rolling, so I'll finish the thought.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, sir.
See ya.
Thank you.
So the point I'm making is that in order to come to that stage where your intention is actually pure, steadily, over time,
Thank you.
have a good one.
Thank you.
Haribol.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thanks for the concert.
Thank you.
Come back again.
I will.
Thank you. Haribol. So, in order to bring us to the point where we can actually be in that consciousness, we have to hear, and we have to at least understand. We may not be able to remember. I was talking to Rishabdev today and with Kripa Moya, and we were kind of noticing how it's hard for us to remember the details of what we hear. And I think all of us, with rare exceptions, are like that in Kali Yuga. It talked about that in the beginning of our readings, how in Kali Yuga we're quite unfortunate, in order to have good memories and long lifespans and pure intentions and purity. But we have this one good quality, as it talks about in the Bhagavatam, and that is simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord and chanting the Srimad-Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. It's very important to distinguish with this, because unless we do that, our chanting will remain on the sentimental platform, and then the fall downs that we have periodically won't be accidental. They'll be premeditated and calculated and extended over time. And after that, after enough of that, then the Lord will withdraw, the holy name even, will withdraw the mercy and wait until the soul learns this. And then, if the soul can continue in devotional service through that heat that comes when we don't do the right thing, and confusion that comes with it, and all of those things that interfere with our Vyabhasayatmika buddhi, then the holy name again gives. It's not that the holy name goes away. It's not that any devotional service that we've done ever, we lose it entirely. But it will go to the back. It'll become dormant. So it's by the constant engagement in devotional service under any circumstances that brings us to that point of receiving the full mercy of the Lord. I mean, I'm sitting in a room full of pure devotees, so what can I say? I'm just parroting Hare Krishna, basking in the effulgence of the devotional service of all of you. So therefore the conclusion is, as Prabhupada told us again and again and again and again, now you've come to Vaikuntha, just don't leave. Just continue in this hearing and chanting and performing devotional service, offering everything that you do to the lotus feet of the Lord, associating in the association of devotees, and eventually you'll get free from all of these material contaminations. Guaranteed. As some guy says on the TV, guaranteed. I guarantee it. You get the best price, guaranteed. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prana. Keep the ball rolling.
I like the point how in the age of Kali that things are so bad here that people are forced to take exclusive shelter of the Lord's holy names and pastimes and devotees, whereas in other ages they would take shelter of kind of like these more mechanical processes. And
so many other things. Mm-hmm.
And so that people from Satya Yuga actually praise Kali Yuga. They actually desire to take birth in the Kali Yuga.
Yeah.
So that kind of put into perspective the, whatever various struggles a devotee might go through in this age, controlling the mind or senses or whatever, is that the stress is actually being desired by the residents of Satya Yuga so that they can take this exclusive shelter. And so I really liked what you just said about how we have to hear Bhagavad Gita, Srimad-Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, because then even because if we don't, I also, like, my understanding is, like, if we don't do that, then even though these things are coming to us, then we won't have the foundation in Prabhupada's books to take that exclusive shelter.
Yeah, we forget. We'll forget. That's Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga means time is always like that. Maybe in other ages it may take longer for us to forget, or it's easier for us, but it's still we forget. If we don't constantly cultivate, then we forget. That's time. And nobody can change that. No one can change that. And, of course, now I'm getting first-hand experience. But when you get old, over 70, it's a milestone. Well, there's different milestones. Prabhupada said 40 is, what does he call it? Not old age, but pre-old. It's not. What is it? What did he call it? No. There's a word that he used that meant it's old age, but it's not quite old age. It hasn't arrived yet, but it's coming, and you can tell it's coming. And then at 50, then it's old age. So at 50, there's anybody who's over 50, when you go over 50, it changes. And then 60, it changes again. And 70, it changes again. And then you're deep into it. And then you can no longer, imagine that you're going to turn it around. And, So if we don't become internally enlivened, then when you get old and your body slows down and you can't run around and jump and do all the things that you did to get gratified in different ways, then you will suffer big time. But if you do develop a taste internally, then even if your body hurts and even if it's this and that, you will not feel it. You will be happy. You will stay happy and light inside. Guaranteed. You just have to look. You don't have to look any further than the videos. Watch Prabhupada. There was one lecture he gave in Bombay. He was very sick. And when he got onto the Vyasasam, he was sitting in such a way that devotees were like, their hearts were bleeding practically, wondering what was going to happen. And then somebody made some, outrageous comment from the audience or something, and Prabhupada heard it. And he started, and he started preaching. By the end, he was like a lion, like right in his edge, just standing up straight and just like a lion, giving the sauce to 20,000 people, Amazing. And it's true. It's true. You go out in Sankirtan, and before you go out, it's like, can I even do this? How will I ever be able to give, how will I even approach one person? What to speak of give out a book? It's like, isn't it? Every time before you go out, it's the same. But as soon as you hit that pavement, and that first book goes into the hand of the first person, it's like, bing, you just become, it's almost like you become another person. Safest place in the three worlds, in the arms of Lord Chaitanya, Prabhupada, doing something that satisfies, without condition. If you give this is the test, this is the mercy. I was just going to say, when you were talking about, how the residents of the heavenly planets and other ages, they're praying to take birth here. That means they're praying to be in a difficult situation because they can see that that's the Lord's mercy, special mercy. You get a crash course. In Kali Yuga, you get a crash course. Yeah, go ahead.
So, so when we don't take that exclusive shelter, when we're in this difficult situation, that does mean that we haven't heard properly, or is there any other reasons that we can adjust?
Yeah, you haven't heard properly.
Okay.
But if you get, when you hear that it's only the holy name, and if you just wag your tongue, that's it. Well, it is in a sense, but you have with the devotees and with Lord Chaitanya and his movement. But then you have to take it. You have to take it. You have to. What's the word? Your individual conscious effort has to be there. It's not that that the Lord's going to do everything for you. There's a conscious effort that's required to find out how to chant without offense. But even if you can't do that, if you continue to chant and don't stop chanting, you will become purified by the holy name and you'll become free from it all. That's the unlimited mercy of the holy name. But to the extent that you don't extent, you'll get mixed results. Yayatam mam prapadyante tangstataiva vajamiham. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. If you approach Krishna with indifference, if you approach him with anger, he will respond with anger. If you approach him with love, he will respond with love. It's natural. So when we first come to the movement and we taste prasada, and we taste the kirtan and the holy name and the association of the devotees, we get a definite, clear spiritual experience. And it is so rare in this world. So if we're not grateful, and give ourselves and give our mind and our body and our words according to our capacity, according to what we can do, then we're ingrates, and Krishna will respond to us like that. And we inside will look for ways to keep ourselves, happy, instead of giving happiness to others, instead of voluntarily putting yourself on the line and trying and give yourself to others, to help others come to this, to have this great fortune, to get this taste of spiritual experience, which they're not getting in the material world, in the Kali Yuga. That's the mercy of Srimati Radharani coming from Lord Chaitanya. Yes, Bhakti Matthew, you got 2 minutes. Go ahead. Shoot.
I was appreciating this part of the purport from that translation of verse 36. It's saying the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not primarily the superintendent of this world, but rather the enjoyer of his own world, which is beyond the most fantastic dreams of a conditioned living entity. It was reminding me of a pastime where demigods had accidentally created a huge demon that was out to kill Indra. And so they actually started having these nice prayers in seeking shelter of Krishna. And when he came, Krishna gave them the boon they wanted, and that was to kill the demon. And he was making the point that you could have asked for me, but you wanted me to do the maintenance of removing this demon that you made. And
are you talking about Vritrasura? Well, I'm not following.
I don't.
The demons, the demigods created a demon
Yeah, it was a mispronunciation of.
Oh, it's not that the demigods were creating a demon. It was
They accidentally did, yes.
It was a priest. It was a priest on behalf of it. He was spokeful, because if you tell stories that aren't correct, then everybody will get confused. I was getting confused, and when the demons came and took over and kicked the demigods out of the heavenly planets, the mother of the demigods, Aditi, she wanted to get revenge and get her sons back into their rightful position in the heavenly planets. And so she wanted to create I think maybe I might be getting the wrong story. I remember getting the wrong story. It was Vritrasura. Anyway, there was a mantra that was supposed to be chanted to make an enemy of Indra that would kill Indra. But they, like you said, the mantra was chanted wrong, because the person who they made the priest had some affinity towards the demons also. So he was mixed. So he said the thing in a different way, and he created a person who would be the enemy of Indra rather than Indra's enemy. No, Indra's enemy instead of... Anyway, he was a devotee. He was a great devotee. And he came in front of the demigods and was just wiping everybody out. And Indra tried to kill him with his thunderbolt, but it didn't work. Oh no, a club he threw, and the club didn't work. And then Indra became depressed. And he said, I'm not even going to try my thunderbolt on this guy, because this guy is so powerful. And then Vritrasura, who was actually a great devotee, started preaching to Indra, now pick up your, thunderbolt. It was empowered by Vishnu, and I know what's going to happen here. I'm supposed to be killed by you, but I want to go back to Godhead. I don't want to waste my time like you do, being the king of heaven and having to go through all this trouble. I'm ready. Okay, take it up.
But they were praying to Vishnu, and he came?
Huh? No, it was that was different. No, Vritrasura got on Indra's case, and Indra had the power in this. No, he had the power in the. They created a thunderbolt from the bones of Aditi, and it had special power by Vishnu, that it was able to kill Vritrasura. And then he finally killed it. It took 1 year to cut the head off of Vritrasura. It was so huge and so powerful. He was ready to swallow up the whole, all the demigods. Just, he was just, he was invincible. Only Vishnu could kill him. But the point of the story, and the most touching part of the story, was when the demon started chastising Indra in front of everybody. You weakling, we stand up and fight. Why are you getting depressed and thinking of going away? It was like Krishna speaking to Arjuna in the Battle of Kurukshetra, kind of like that. Yeah, it was a wonderful story. Thanks for reminding us. I mean, I may even have been mixing some stories also in there, but that was the essence of that pastime. That Vritrasura was such a great soul, and even the demigods were like, praising him for what he was saying and what he was doing, and booing Indra. And finally, he preached to Indra and got Indra to, get enough faith. Put the faith in Indra in Vishnu's weapon, and then finally killed the demon, who was actually a great devotee. That was one. Actually, the pastime of Vritrasura is only found in the Bhagavatam. It's one of the indicators, because in other Puranas, there are qualities that may be misinterpreted to mean that it's the Bhagavatam, or it's the, main scripture, Summa Bonum. But you only find Vritrasura in this scripture. That's the significance of it. Okay, I gotta stop now, with the permission, everybody. Permission? Thank you. By the way, I did 104 pages today. I crossed over the, 100 pages. It was big. It was really big. And it was a lot of it was the prayers of Lord Chaitanya and his soliloquies when he was in complete ecstasy. Nectar, pure, unadulterated nectar. I couldn't stop. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone out in cyberspace. Please share and come back for more, please. And also, I found out that my Pushashi has made a YouTube channel with the same name, Daily Readings of Prabhupada's Books. And if you want to listen to certain lectures or certain readings, it's hard in the Facebook because you've got to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. But this way on the YouTube channels, they're all organized in such a way that you can find them very easily by canto or by scripture, and it's very easy to find. So he's gotten like more than 400. He's got 400 on that channel. So anybody that just wants to find a specific, it's not live, but you do get the effect of the live reading. It's, all the questions are there and everything. You just can't go on live, but just the announcement, public service announcement, that's now available on YouTube. Daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. Hare Krishna. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol Harinam Sankirtan ki jai.
Tomorrow